Hello, welcome to Marshall County Close-Up. My name is Kaden Mohler and I'm a senior here at Marshall County, but more importantly today, I'm very excited to learn more and more about Mr. Jeff Waters, who's been a big impact in Marshall County for many years. So Jeff, welcome, Marshall County Close-Up.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I was thinking about who I could get on, like for my senior final. There's really nobody better than you, so I appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, and I'm honored, because obviously I'm very fond of you guys.
Yeah.
And so it's a big thrill for me to be here. An honor for you to ask me. I appreciate it.
For sure. So tell us a little bit about your job at the radio station.
Well, I, of course, do the ball games, but the basketball, did football for 30 years, and getting a little older, I gave that up a couple of years ago. So I do the basketball games, girls and boys. I'll fill in occasionally on a softball or a baseball game if they need me to. But during the day, I am working in advertising and promotions. It takes a lot of money to do a ball game broadcast, and so I work with our budgets on that. Our travel budgets, our expenses as far as, because we have to have a studio operator, a play-by-play announcer, and all of the other things that go, the travel money and all of that. So I work at advertising as far as that goes, and, do regular advertising as well, not just sports advertising, but work on our sports budgets and make sure that we're hopefully making a little profit every year.
Yeah. So you do a lot more than just show up to Reed Conder and call some basketball
games. There's a little bit more involved. I started at 8 to 5, but as I've gotten older and I've been there 33 years, I sometimes slip out well before 5 o'clock. But I guess that's one of the good things about kind of knowing the drill, as they say.
Yeah, I got you. So how many years have you really been into this?
Actually started when I was a senior in high school.
Oh, wow.
At Lyon County. Began broadcasting games that year.
So you were broadcasting your friends' basketball games?
I was. It was guys that I'd played with up to a certain point. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And had played up through part of high school, and so it was all guys and the guy that helped me. He was still is today a friend. He's an attorney in Hopkinsville.
I gotcha.
But we started. I wasn't any good at all. I was getting $10 a game. It's a long time ago. $10 was actually a pretty decent amount of money 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But started there and did that for a few years. Went to PCC. I guess West Kentucky Tech. It'll always be PCC to me. I worked in their television station, kind of like you guys are doing here, with the studio here at Marshall County High School. So I worked in the TV station, did a lot of interesting things there, and I was continuing to do ball games. Had enrolled at UK, and I applied for multiple jobs. By that time, I had a few years of experience and had a 2-year degree. And I applied for multiple radio jobs in Lexington and didn't get a single one. So I found out about the opening at WCBL. At that time, a gentleman named Jeff Parker was doing the ball games. He was a great announcer, great guy. And he had a young family at that time. He did not work full-time in the radio station. He had a job outside of the radio. So he was wanting to get out of broadcasting the game, so it was very stroke of luck for me. Jim Freeland, who was the station manager and then later the station owner, he and I, obviously were familiar with each other. He had hired me just to do all kinds of stuff about a year before that, and knew I had some background in play-by-play announcing, and so that's been 33 years ago that I came to work there, 32 years of doing the ball games now.
Wow. So what really first inspired you?
Well, I just loved sports growing up. As I say, I was a failed basketball player. I had some ability, but not the right mentality at that time. And so I just loved being around it. Very thankful because from the time that I was born, my mother was a cheerleader at Lyon County. And when she had me, she was very young and continued to go to the ball games. And she told me she could sit me in, as an infant, she could sit me in her lap and as long as the ball game was going on, I would not fuss about anything. So I guess I was just destined to be around the game in some form or fashion.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really, like growing up, and maybe as of recent, what's been some like trials you've had to work through while having this job?
Well, the biggest thing that I've had to deal with over the course of the last few years is I've had severe asthma, and this was in my book, so I'm not revealing. For a number of years, we kept it pretty private. But I've had severe asthma most of my life. Well, about 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with a condition called bronchiectasis, which is a permanent scarring of the lung. So my lung capacity isn't what it should be for a man of my age. It's pretty advanced as far as, they tell me I have a lung capacity of a person that would be several years older. So learning how to manage that with medications, getting in better shape, those types of things, trying to exercise and do all of that. That's been probably the biggest thing to be able to kind of navigate that, but also to be able to continue to do the job at the personal standard I want for myself, but also for the standard that Marshall County deserves. So that's, but as far as the other, it's, I have great people that I work for. All of the people that I work with and work for, I've known them for many, many years. And they're very easy to work for and good friends. And so I don't have a lot of trials in that regard. And the technology has advanced so much. When I first started doing games, up until about 16, 17 years ago, we actually had to have a phone line.
Wow.
Where you would plug into, and that's how you would feed the signal back down to the studio. Now everything's wireless internet. It's as long as you can get a 5G signal, you can get on the air. So you don't have to, go looking for a phone jack on the wall or stretch out 100 feet of phone cord and all that. It's a lot easier in that regard.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I heard you say something about that book. What's really been that process of you? Now, when was it that you released it?
It was May of last year.
May of
2025.
What's really been that process of, coming out with a book?
Well, I've interviewed and I say this in the book, one of the neat things about my job is not only getting to do the ball games, but being able to get to know and interview a lot of really interesting people. Of course, many of them have been involved in sports, but I've interviewed governors and senators and business and education leaders and Hall of Fame players and coaches. The person that I wanted to interview the most was my dad, and I never did, and it's a great regret of my life. My father was a great man, and he was a combat veteran of the Vietnam War, highly decorated, wounded in action in a helicopter crash that he barely survived. And then he went on and made a great impact. He was not a fancy man. He was a very simple man. But the way that he treated his family and his friends and the impact he had on others made him a great man in my eyes and in many others' eyes too. I always wanted to interview him, and I was always a little bit intimidated to do that because it was one of those things. I was like, this is my dad. And then in 2018, his health started to fail. He had a lot of health conditions with Agent Orange exposure during his time in combat in Vietnam. And so he passed away in the fall of 2019, and I kind of decided then that I was going to leave some sort of written record for my children and their children to kind of know about my life, also know a little bit about his life because my kids were very young when he passed away. And so it was kind of a tribute to my dad in that regard, but to also leave kind of a written record of some of the things that I've been blessed to be able to do. Hopefully it'll mean something to my kids and their kids down the line. But that's kind of what prompted me to do it, but even at that, it took me a few years to get started. I didn't really start on it. I'd kind of start and stop, and I didn't really start on it seriously until about the summer of 2023. And then it took really about a year and a half to write it, because I would write for a few days and then I'd put it up for a few weeks and then pick it back up. It was a process of kind of fits and starts, if you will, of going through it. But I enjoyed it, even the things that weren't always enjoyable to reflect on. I still enjoyed the whole process.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I heard you mention your family. How has it been? How have you had to like balance both having a family and then being gone, not in and not out with broadcasting?
When my kids were small, I was doing the Marshall County football games, the Marshall County boys basketball games, and my daughter, who you're graduating with, so y'all are the same age. My daughter, when she was not even a year old, I was hired by the Murray State Television Network to travel with them and do a lot of their football and basketball games. And so I was on the road all of the time, and my wife was working on her graduate degree to be a nurse practitioner at that point. She was working part-time. I was working as much as I could, just to keep the bills paid. And so I was working. I was taking on a lot of extra work at that time. But I feel like I missed out a lot when my kids were smaller, because I'll give you an example. Murray State played on a Thursday night at Jacksonville State, Jacksonville, Alabama, which is about a 6-hour drive. I got up, went to work for a few hours that morning, drove to Jacksonville, Alabama, did that game that night. It was a 7 o'clock game, got off the air shortly after 9 o'clock, left, drove back home to Marshall County, did not go to bed, took my kids to I guess preschool, maybe Reed was at kindergarten by then, I can't remember, but went and did the Marshall County game at Graves County that night, which was a Friday. The next morning I was up on the road to Cookeville, Tennessee to do the Murray State game at Tennessee Tech.
Wow.
So at some point I thought, I've got to, I'm away from home way too much.
Right.
And so I did that for a few years, and I finally I said, I've got to cut something out. And obviously I wasn't going to cut out the Marshall County job. So, but doing the Murray State games, that was fun. I was there, Billy Kennedy was there, and then Steve Prohm's first year when they, got into the top 10 in the nation. Did a lot of those games when Isaiah Cannon, some of those guys were. That was a lot of fun. But it was also a lot of time away from home too.
Right. Yeah. And I heard you mention there was no way you were going to give up the Marshall County games.
No.
What makes Marshall County so special to call games here?
Well, the first thing, the people.
Right.
You can say the tradition, the success, and those are all great attributes and certainly reasons to feel blessed to be a part of it. But none of that is possible without the people that are involved, the players, the coaches, the parents, all of the support staff, the administration. So it starts with the people. Like any successful organization, it starts with the people. And usually when you have the people, then everything else kind of falls into place. And I've just been so blessed. All of the players down through the years and the coaches, all of the coaches that I think I worked with, I think 7 or 8 different football coaches. I think I've worked now with 5 different boys basketball coaches, 3 or 4 different girls basketball, maybe 5 different girls basketball coaches, I can't remember. But been very blessed to call each one of them a friend. Guys like Sawyer and, of course, Gus Gillespie and Kirk Childs and all great friends. The late Jim Shelton, the football coach. Jim was one of my dearest friends. Matter of fact, I delivered one of the eulogies at his funeral.
Wow.
But I've just been very blessed to know all of those people and to call them friends. And it's very rewarding for me now when I come into the office, in Sawyer's office, and Sawyer's there, and Blake Carey is there, and Dan Lange's there, Cole Nelson, Jay Nemo. I did all of their games. All of those guys, I did their games. Right. So now, that's a very rewarding part because I watch them as young men, as successful young men. They're still young men. But it's a rewarding part to be able to watch them grow and have the success that they've had too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind of last question here, kind of a fun one. What has been, you've called a lot of games. What's your favorite memory from a game you've called, whatever sport?
Oh, wow. It would be hard. Been so many great ones. The girls' run in 2021 was special.
Yeah.
That was very special. I just love that group of kids.
Yeah.
And the way they, like your guys this year, the way that they played defense and rebounded and did all of the little things. And that team was just really, I just had such a great time with that team, as I have all of them. But I look back in 1998, Marshall County football played at Henderson County in the district championship game. There were only 4 classes in Kentucky at that time. It was 4A District 1 championship game. I think going into that game, Henderson was ranked either 3 or 4 in the state in 4A, and we were 1 behind them. And went over there. You talk about packed. If you've ever been to Henderson County's football stadium, but there was no seat to be found. People were lined up around the track, just wherever they could find a spot to be able to see the game. Marshall County had a great team. Gary Rockney was a quarterback, Bobby Sanders running back, Tony Bevel, Wes Teckenbrock, all of those guys, just great players. And got out to a 21-7 lead. Henderson came back. They had a great team. Tied it at 21. Goes to overtime. They score. We score. We scored. So now we're down 28-27. Jim Shelton made the choice to go for 2 and win the game in the first overtime.
Wow.
Well, we had somebody jump on the line, backed us up 5 yards. So we're not going to go for 2 from there. Go to a second overtime. We score. They score. And go to a third overtime. They score, we've got the ball, we score. Gary Rockney broke about 8 tackles getting into the end zone to score the touchdown there on 4th down. So last chance to score. And going back to Henderson County's previous third overtime possession, their kicker, who was an all-state kicker, missed the extra point. So now the door's open. And Justin Locke, who was our kicker, comes on and nails the extra point. We win 42-41 in triple overtime, win the district championship, go on to go to the regional championship game in 4A that year in football. That was, and I found out later, knew at that time, and then I was reminded of it later. The young man from Henderson County, that was the only, he went on and played college football as a kicker. It was the only extra point he missed his entire career in high school. And those were 2 great teams that we couldn't stop them from scoring from the 10-yard line. They weren't going to stop us from scoring from the 10-yard line, whoever made the first mistake. And so that one was just, it was still, and I called some great Murray State football games too, but that's still the greatest football game I ever called. Probably with basketball, one that stands out for me a little bit is the 2011 regional championship team. Because they had been 16 years without a regional title, but they had been to the regional finals 5 times in that period, lost twice in overtime. And you just start wondering, is this ever going to happen again? And then they got down by 13 points to Paducah-Tillman in the second half. Tillman had a great team. In fact, I think coming into that game, Tillman had won 17 or 18 games in a row. And I think at one time, we had split with them during the regular season. That was the only loss they had to a Region 1 team. We get down by 13. They had Josh Forrest, who went on and played in the NFL as a linebacker. J.D. Harmon, who was a defensive back at UK, had a guy named Darius Brown that was a great player. We get down 13. I'm thinking, we'll have to wait another year. Blake Clark, Cole Nelson, Stephen Atkinson, those kids, they start making plays, come back and win the ball game. First time in 16 years. And then they go to the state tournament. They win their opening round game. They give Bullitt East. Bullitt East had Derek Willis, who played at UK. Gave Bullitt East all they wanted and then some in the quarterfinal round. Just fell a little bit short. But that was just because of the length of time it had been in 16 years, and so many near misses over the course because it went by and they won it in '95, got beat in 96, got beat in 2000, 02, 07, 09, and you start wondering, is it going to happen again?
Right.
And it did, and then
Yeah.
it happened again on a repeat the next year.
Yeah.
So I remember those very distinctly. Of course, the run you guys have been on, the run the girls have been on the last several years, those have all been very special to me. I treasure it. As I've gotten older, I can slow things down in my mind a little bit more and kind of tuck away some of those memories a little bit better than maybe I could when I was 25, 35, 45. Now I'm 55, and now I can kind of slow things down a little bit and think I'm really going to relish this moment. And that's what I've been able to do the last few years with you guys and with the girls' teams and the great runs y'all have been on.
This has been Marshall County Close-Up with Mr. Jeff Waters. We're very thankful that he came on today, and my name is Kaden Mohler.